thoughts and a film study. So 2 parts in this video. Some thoughts of mine positionally, offense, defense, and State's win over Southern Miss in the season opener. And then the film study, okay? And I'll give you time codes here on the screen in case you want to just go ahead and skip the thoughts and go ahead to the film study part of it. It's kind of long. It's actually 20 plays.
This video is brought to you by your local Farm Bureau insurance agents in all 82 counties in Mississippi. Go with the home team.
Let's get started now. Here are some thoughts. And I'll start with just overall thoughts, offense and defense. On offense, you had the penalties, which led to, frankly, a bad first half. I think the number at halftime was 5 penalties, all on the offensive side in the first half, and several of those brought touchdowns back off the board. So the penalties were bad. It was an excellent third quarter for State's offense, one of the best quarters of football that Jeff Levy has had as a head coach at State. And then one thing offensively is clear: you're going to need better consistency up front and across a 4-quarter game. And I feel like some of that's a derivative of just having new guys and playing together for the first time. But a lot of room for improvement there up front. So since I just mentioned offense, let's look at the offensive line. Here's some thoughts about them specifically. I felt like they were inconsistent on the right side of the offensive line, a little more than the left throughout the ball game. And then, of course, you had to change at tackle because Steen got hurt during the course of the game. Number 2, there were some high snaps. It was not, ridiculous, but there were a few, which is a few too many. I thought Jimonthy Lewis, a young left tackle, was pretty good in the ball game, and he had a couple of mistakes, and there was a couple of penalties here and there, but he was really aggressive, and he just showed you the talent that they've talked about that he has. You had the alignment penalties that really stood out, especially in the first half on the offensive line. And then the overall there is lots of room for improvement on State's offensive line, I feel like, coming out of that ball game. When you look at quarterback, I feel like State's QB's had a good day. Blake Shapen had a good day, and he really only had the one big mistake, and that was the interception on his own end of the field in the first half. But from a quarterback standpoint, I feel like State was really solid and had a pretty good day. And they were accurate with the football, especially Blake. I just felt like, the accuracy, the ability to throw the ball, which is better than a lot of people give him credit for, was on display in the ball game. He was really accurate throwing the ball. You look at the receiver group for State. Number 1, they got a lot of guys involved. That was good to see, and that was the intention coming in, so I'm impressed that you can get the ball to everybody you want to get it to. They do have to block better. When I say it's not like they were missing blocks or whiffing or blocking the wrong people, but block better in terms of technique, because there were way too many penalties on receivers holding down the field. And then you only had the one drop in the ball game, which is a positive for the receiver group. Running backs, as a whole, Booth, Bothwell, Daniels, it was a great start to the season for that group, and they sort of are the stars of your offense. No fumbles in the game for the running backs either. They never put it on the ground. Really good ball security. And throughout the game, the depth at that position really showed for Mississippi State. All right, here's some overall thoughts on State's defense, and thought they had a pretty good day. Number 1, I thought they were really good against the run. When you look at the numbers in the first 3 quarters of the game, the meat of the game when State built its big lead, then it's pretty telling that they did not allow rush yards to anybody at Southern Miss other than that quarterback, who's a pretty good player. They were good on defense in one-on-one coverage out on the outside, which was good to see. They used very few stunts and twists up front. You just didn't see that much from the front. It was not a part of their plan or scheme going into this game. It's kind of straight up defense for the most part. They tackled well, really at all levels. You did not see a bunch of missed tackles from State's defense. And they did force some mistakes, like the interception. On the defensive line, these are the things that stood out to me. Number 1, Will Whitson, number 43, the edge guy who can also put his hand down from Coastal Carolina. I thought he had a good day. We'll see that in the film study. Bledsoe flashed a couple of times, and even though it doesn't really show up much when you're the nose guard, but I thought the Texas transfer played well. Their depth on the defensive line really showed throughout the game, even towards the end. As I mentioned, that D-line group was very good against the run, and they did not do a lot of stunting and twisting and stuff that you'll see in other games as the year goes on. The linebacker group was good I thought it was a good start to the year. They tackled well at linebacker. You didn't see linebackers missing tackles. And the depth at that position also showed. And there's lots of different types of players and bodies in that, what we call that linebacker group. Cornerbacks, I thought, played the ball in the air really well throughout the day. We will see that in the film study coming up, minus one play down there where you didn't really play it in the air, but the rest of them they did. They tackled well at corner. And the biggest thing is at that position where you're thin, they stayed healthy coming out of that ball game, which is a big deal. And lastly, just if anybody cares, my thoughts on Southern Miss. Number one, they are clearly better overall as a team. Like just all those players, 65 new players, they're better athletes for the most part from top to bottom. They've brought in bigger, faster athletes than what they had. So that's a credit to that staff for getting those transfers in there. They were pretty physical on the back end of their defense, I felt like. Tackled and hit, and the quarterback there is for real. If that offensive line holds up and doesn't get hurt a bunch throughout the year, he's going to make a lot of noise in that league in the Sun Belt. He's a pretty good player. All right, here comes the film study. Whole bunch of plays. If you like this sort of thing, settle in, take a look. Comment as well. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions or if you know any terminology on this stuff that I apparently don't know, feel free to let me know in the comments. Here's the film study. See what you think.
This is the go ball. That is the first touchdown of the game. Traore, the tight end, out there on the numbers. Vertical, little jab step inside, and it freezes the safety and just runs right by him. And he's really a weapon. And it's Jeff Lebby offense everywhere he's been. He's wanted to have that weapon that is kind of a slash player, do a little bit of everything with. I would love to know, what Shapen is reading right here. If you look at the formation, 2 by 2, 4 wides, and look how wide they are. Everybody's way out on the numbers, and your widest receivers, even on the top side, he's on the sideline, so it's to widen the defense. And so I wondered, okay, if it's a straight pass call, like there's no RPO built in, there's no run option. If it's a straight pass call, then it could be as simple as on alignment, you look, this is a 2 safety, defense for them. And on to his right, to this side of the field, there are 3 defenders over 2. Okay, and if they look and decide on alignment, well, he's on the hash, so we're going to treat him in the box. And so therefore on this side, there's only 2 defenders over 2. Like it could be that simple, that these are option and read routes based on what the defense does. If they drop, we stop. If they sit, we go. And it could, for all I know, again, it could be simply going, okay, this side, we're going to treat this like it's a box defender. And so therefore, all I've got is 1-on-1. It's 2 over 2. Whereas I'm going to go away from this side because it's actually, 3 over 2. That could be it. And if you choose that, again, and if these are options for the receivers, if you look, up top, he stops. So corner pushes into the sideline, he stops. But, that looks like a call to me. This doesn't look like, this is a read on the outside. Then maybe it's a read for him. If they do some sort of rotation and he flies down, maybe I stop. Maybe I don't. Maybe it's just a call route. We're going to read it accordingly. And the only receiver, if it's called that way, the only receiver that's getting the go ball is Traore. Because if you look, here on the backside, we're stopping with a deep corner, curling in front. He's the only one that's on a go. At any rate, whatever the read is for Shapen that gets in there, he just runs right by him. And this is the other thing, too. So last thing on this play. Watch Shapen, just keep your eyes on QB. Does he pump fake? I mean, if he does, it's just the slightest little, nudge. You wouldn't really call that a pump fake. I wondered. But whatever's going on here, it's almost like both safeties are biting on what they think is a run. If you look at both of these guys, after the fake has happened, okay, and he goes and back steps forward, he flies in and he freezes and looks in. They both are either guessing run or maybe the fake is that good. See, because there, and then here they come. Look, here's one coming downhill. Here's another. This is a pass all the way. All we know is it gets him beat up top. He's 15 steps behind him. When one's that wide open, it's like just don't miss him. And so this is a really good job by Shapen. Put it on him, let him score. Okay, this is the interception by their dropping linebacker on State's own end of the field. It's play action look, trying to throw it against that zone coverage, and he falls back in there. And really nice catch. Good play by that linebacker. And I think they've got a good call here for this. State's in 2-by-2 with 2 tight ends. And, running these choice routes, you're going to have a couple of them, including 2 tight ends and a back in this area. And it's a good defensive call for them against it with their cover 3 zone, safety in the middle of the field. And so what it allows is 3, really 4 underneath defenders right here in zone coverage in those throwing lanes. So on the release, really the first thing to watch is paired with the route. Traore, the tight end, is vertical and then looking back, trying to find a throwing lane. Other tight ends checking protection, releasing out this side and back after the fake. He's checking and then out that side. And so, one is there's no width for the back. He's basically running to the same spot the tight end is. That could be maybe part of the issue, but I think the biggest thing is just finding the throwing lane in these choice, type of routes. You got to find a throwing lane where there's not a linebacker in it, basically. So vertical push, turn. You see the route right here. Watch Traore, tight end. Vertical, linebackers drop, and you would think, okay, we've got in break or curl here. It's just we got a dropping defender right in that throwing lane. Back is a little bit late checking out, so he's not threatening any of these defenders, so they're free to just kind of get to their depths. There's really not a threat here in the timing as well. And here, if Traore, finds that throwing lane and sets up between 2 guys, it's a completion. But he kind of sets up right behind the linebacker who drops, and that's part of the issue. Behind him, and then the throw takes him, a little bit over there, and I think we'll see a behind angle. It shows you Blake really couldn't even see the guy. You kind of lose track of him dropping in that zone. So I think it's an example. It's a good defensive call for what State's running, and the difference in, a step or 2 making a big difference. Let's look at it. So here's 17, and again, dropping here in zone, tight end release, vertical, curl, and there's just he's just in the throwing lane, close to it. Follows the eyes of the QB, comes back, and then makes a play on the football. And I like this angle. You can get at least a little bit of a feel. There he is defensively in alignment. You go through the fake, eyes outside. You see that drop. I think what I'm seeing Blake is, he looks outside, but he sees his defender dropping in that throwing lane, so now he's coming back to number 2, which is a tight end. You can see the helmet. It looks like he's headed that way, but again, if I'm finding the throwing lane here, bringing it inside to give the QB a clear throwing lane, it's an easy completion. But I'm there, and I kind of set up behind a guy, and now the margin is too close to try to jam it in there. He falls back and makes a play. Okay, this is after that interception at the Mississippi State 26-yard line. This is a 3-play sequence where some corners are going to make some really nice plays. A couple of them anyway, 2 out of the 3. So on the first down play, tries to throw a go ball and a really nice play to bat it away. And you get another one of these in this sequence. But on first down, State's dropping 2 safeties. It's straight up cover 2 look, okay? And he's obviously read it that way because in a typical cover 2, these corners, their responsibility will be this area of the field. If anybody threatens it, they're going to stay there, and that's where you get that old cover 2 hole shot. The corner stays, and we run past him because there's a safety over the top. He lets him go because there's somebody else threatening him. He stays. That makes sense. He lets him go, and you try to throw it in that hole shot. But that's not what State's doing. It's a version of 2 where they've got some kind of tag where we are over the top, 2 safeties, alignment pre-snap, and initially we're here. But if he runs, he's turning running with him, and we're sprinting to cover flats with our inside defenders. And so that's what allows, I believe it's Brumfield. You see him at bottom. He turns, runs with him. He's in a perfect position to bat it away. So that's on the first down play. They gave you a replay angle down on the field. You can kind of see what quarterback sees. And, again, this is one of those where He's really reading it pre-snap as cover 2, and initially sees those safeties stay in the middle and just assuming that corner is going to stay, but he didn't. Went ahead and threw it anyway. Nice play, batted away. So then they come back on second down and go trips with motion him across, and State adjusts and jumps into matchup man on that side. State is mixing their coverage, going zone coverage on this side and jumping into man coverage on that side. They try to throw a screen against it. They see the defender come down, and the zone coverage, if you had man coverage, it'd be great, but the zone coverage allows you to have 3 guys right there. We just got to beat offensive linemen. Not necessarily a great job by their linemen. You got screen call, and people are kind of late getting out and looking back the wrong way, so State smothers it. And then on the third down play, now, again, this is after a turnover. They're trying to tie the game up right here. Again, pre-snap, State gives them a 2 safety look, but they're in trips on this side. And so what State's doing is it's zone everywhere on the field except we're locking up in man over here. I think they know that. They want to take that one-on-one matchup, so it's just a matter of who wins. Go ball, and this time Jones is right there. You can't. It's textbook. You don't defend. He wants the sideline. You turn and run. Squeeze him to the sideline. Don't let there, you don't want there to be a room to drop the ball in there. Squeeze him to the sideline. Find the football in the air. This is a 6'4" corner who's the second fastest player on your football team. And just a really fine job. He did it more than once in this ball game. TV does a nice job of giving you a really close look at what Kelly Jones did. It's just straight up man. Goes to the sideline, run with him. Don't hold, don't grab jersey. Run, find the football. As long as you find the football, you're good. And then just make a play on it. Excellent job. All right, this is an example of penalties that hurt you in the ball game, especially in the first half offensively. A little speed motion across here away from trips, throw a screen, bad snap. Good job with the quarterback to handle it, but you get a hold out here after a really nice first down play that's going to bring it all back. This happened a bunch. So in this particular case, let's just look at the play. Again, there's your fast motion away. See, in pre-snap alignment, everybody's deep and kind of showing you a zone look, and then it's confirmed. He goes in motion. There's nobody running with him. This is not a man-to-man. We know it's a zone. And on the snap, you'll see safeties drop. You get 2 dropping. Corners are up, so it's a cover 2 call for Southern Miss with that robber in the middle, which is kind of the old, like Tampa 2 look defensively. So it's a good play call for this. I mean, it's a really good play call. One thing, look at the snap. This happened, a few times in the game, too many times. Handled by the quarterback right here. Good job. He's got to tip it to himself, but you can't have that. Handle it and then get it out accurately. And then, I should probably point out, it's a super underrated ability of Blake Shapen is catching all kinds of snaps, and it doesn't matter where it is. And he doesn't have to have the laces or anything. And he's so quick and accurate with these extended handoff throws. It's another reason that a coach loves a quarterback who is just so consistently accurate. Here's a guy on a screen who, he's catching it in dead stride right in front, facing the defense, doesn't have to turn around, doesn't have to stoop, anything to catch the ball. Perfect throw, just as if you handed it to him. So then all we really need to get this going is this. That's all we need. With a kid that is as fast as Anthony Evans, this is first and all the way. So that block's got to happen without holding. I mean, it's a good block. He's being physical. It's just you can't grab the jersey. Arms, so it's a technique thing, really. Arms are a little too high on the defender and then around the defender. That's going to get called if you grab that jersey and pull him. And that's what happens there. Yeah, so there it is. And that's it right there. See, arms are high and on the outside. You appreciate the effort, but you just can't grab the jersey. And in that situation, when he tries to pull away, you got to let him go. So another example there were a bunch of these penalties bringing plays back. All right, so you're up 7-3, got momentum first quarter. I think 3rd and 11 play right here. You got it in 3rd and long. You execute it, turn it into something good, right? Nice protection, hit the back. He makes one move and is out the gate up the sideline. Good block there by the receiver. Make one miss, touchdown, right? But the whole thing is coming back. It takes a touchdown off the board, because we're lined up in the backfield right here. And this happened more than once too. The thing that they began, as a point of emphasis last year for officials of, the alignment on the line of scrimmage. Are these guys in or out? And they're deciding right here in this case that we got too much. He's in the backfield because ball is up here on the 32. His foot is on the 34 and a half. So they're saying he's in the backfield, and so it brings the whole play back. And just, again, another example, points coming off the board in the game for State because of a penalty, either a holding or a pre-snap deal. One thing in the play I want to point out, though, you did have some blocking issues at times at that next level with guys holding, whatever, like the previous play we saw. But here's a couple of receivers that are really springing this for a touchdown. Boom, Evans right there catches one. You got to be careful about being high because they'll get you for a blindside. But, there he's in front. Good job, good physical block right there. And then Williams, 11, physical, a little high, but still in the way and not committing a penalty down there. So, they did some good things. A little late getting this play started here for you, but you can see 43, that's Will Whitson, transfer, Coastal Carolina. Had a good ball game, and he was really active. Got his hand down right here on the line of scrimmage for State. They're going to counter to him, or really just pull guard and tackle to him, whether it's counter or not, it's GT. But follows down inside, split them, make the tackle, TFL. And just a really fine job, technically, fundamentally, and physically and everything, read and react. So, again, the side he's on, it's the left side of their offense. Tackle, guard, and center are down and across, everybody there. And so he's doing what he's supposed to do. His responsibility, he's not, wild and crazy firing off upfield and leaving gaps open. His fit is he's right on his hip as he goes down. He's going to follow him down in there. Watch. Follow him down there. He's right on his hip. And then see what's happening. Here goes handoff. I see that. Okay, and because he's in position, he's tight enough that it makes it hard on this tackle coming all the way around. And he just kind of, is taking a bad angle. He's a little deep. And look, low, leverage, right underneath him, and boom. Good play. It's a big play in the game. 4th down stop here, 4th and 1 across midfield. And these guys on the left side, it's Bledsoe, Bingley Jones, and Jennings on the edge right here. They're the ones that get it stopped. Quarterback run with, that's what you ought to do if you're Southern Miss on 4th and 1, is somehow, some way have him running the ball with blockers, numbers, and everything else, but he's really your best ball carrier. And they stop him, block him back to check the edge with the tight end, fake to the back here, mesh with him so he becomes a lead blocker into the hole. And the thing is, he goes through to the next level instead of hitting one of these 3 guys. And so that's the way it turns out, is it's kind of one-on-one with, I don't know if you can see this, but right here, that's Bledsoe in the center. Then right here is going to be Bingley Jones in the guard. And then on the edge is going to be Jennings and the tackle. And all 3 win. Stand them up right here. Don't move. Arms extended. Great job on the edge, too. Look at that on the tackle. Just extend him. And then one's hitting the ball carrier up top. The other one's hitting him around the waist. He can't move his legs. And so you're able to keep him short of the line. Really nice job. Look at this angle. TV gives you 3 good angles on it. All right, so first let's watch Bledsoe in the center. Here we go. Just put your eyes on 92. Stand him up. Don't move. Boom. Hang in there and get some help. Good job. Then now let's watch against the guard. Let's watch 22, Bingley Jones. Boom. Hold your ground. Hit him, drive him back. Good job. And then now let's watch the edge, 44. Against the tackle right here on the edge. Good job. Knock him back. Now you're free. Go in there and hit him. And that's really, this is it. Jennings 44 around his legs is what keeps that big quarterback from being able to push with those legs and go get those yards. That's what keeps him from being able to do it. And it's good team defense, too. There's a bunch of other guys who are in on this and sort of clouding it up. And now you see it from this angle. See Bledsoe there at nose. Nice job. Extend, don't move. And that's the other thing, too, is I don't know this, but I would imagine that in film they may be telling their back, look, yeah, normally we run this. It's like QB power. You're the lead blocker, okay, or ISO, and you follow him into the gap. You're going to the next level. But on fourth, and we just need 1 yard, what we need you to do is after this fake, we need you to hit somebody at the line of scrimmage. We don't care about this 3rd and 4th and 5th yard of this run. We care about the 1st yard. Because really, you could say if, we're winning there, we're winning here, certainly, we're winning here, okay? And yeah, it's great to think about getting a big play out of this. But if back steps in here and helps on Bledsoe or Bingley Jones right here and helps, then you may actually get that push that he needs for the first down. But because he steps through, 3 defenders close on him, and it's like 3 defenders tackling the ball carrier and 3 offensive linemen all at once. So that's a really good physical play on 4th and 1. After the 4th and 1 stop and turnover on downs, first play you come back out and go speed motion back across, flip it to him, trying to get a fast guy to the outside on maybe a big play. It's effectively a run play, but they blow it up. And so it's a tackle for loss. You find yourself in 2nd and 15, and this is after the big turnover, and you're just against it, right? It kind of went negative. You get 2nd and 15, get away from the run game right there, which had been working for you at this point in the ball game. And really, it comes down to one matchup, and it's slot receiver versus slot corner or nickel defender right here. You got to get that block. And, if you get it, you got a chance to have a play, at least, something positive. And if you don't, it's negative play. Defensive alignment was exactly what you wanted here when you called this play. But if you look right here in the slot. See, it's like, we know it's coming that way, but he's not fooled at all. His eyes are in the backfield the whole way. So it's a good job of this defender. He immediately takes an angle. He does not hesitate. He's coming downfield. And, receiver steps forward. Yes, you want to stay on the outside. You're happy for him to be, inside of you because you want to, shield him from getting back out if this thing goes. Sure, you want to have an outside leverage, but you can't have this where he flies upfield. You never get a hand on him, and he beats you to the point of attack. So it's a good aggressive play by a defender, poor job blocking in the slot by a receiver. And once this happens, once we're here, another bad thing happens, which is your lead back, which is supposed to lead you to the outside, you hit each other, kind of knock each other out of the play, get knocked backwards. Trail defender has been running the whole way. Now he's in on it, and it's a big TFL. Even though you did some good things defensively, you waffled around there for a few minutes offensively at 10-3, punting and going backwards and, penalties, taking points off the board, and eventually they put a drive together here, have a little flurry. Good job staying in the pocket, hitting the tight end up the seam. That was their first big play, and that was on a 3rd and 9. And so I couldn't see on this look position the safeties, but I'm pretty sure you have 2 back here, like a cover 2 look with 4 on the line. State did mix up its front and do some 4 down stuff in the ball game, motioning to, twins, 2 on either side, and they go stretch the field here to the flat, up to that next level, over that corner's head, up the seam here, and then, give you a vertical look and stop out here. Something held the safety out, and that's what allowed the tight end to get up the middle of the field. On the front, it's a pretty good job by their tackle here. Nice rush. He's going to get in the vicinity to affect him, but the tackle stayed with it. And State had what effectively kind of started working as a twist, because your tackle with his hand down starts to come around. It just happens late, so you couldn't really affect the throw. So they had this play, gets them up the field. They come back and choose that one-on-one again, just kind of throwing a go ball up the sideline there. Choose it. You're in good position, It's just a little bit of a back shoulder, and he makes a catch on your shoulder. So it's a good play by them. Corner's in position. He just, is actually kind of outrunning it. It's a back shoulder thing, hard to defend, and doesn't get his head around in time to find the football. Good catch there. And then this deal, the scoring play, where this should have been pick six, or should have been a pick six. Throwing it to the goal line, tipped it to him for a touchdown. And the thing to look at here, it's an excellent job here in terms of recognizing what's going on by Hunter Washington, the safety, who's played a lot of football for you. He sees motion going away, the back's going out there. So in this man-to-man responsibility, you're going to run outside. He's the free, and as soon as one of the guys out of the trips crosses his face, he jumps it. And whether or not he's seeing the quarterback or not, I don't know. But when that route comes across, Washington's going to jump it. Watch him here. Okay, see him recognize? He's already jumping it. It's really an excellent job, because you're getting a pretty decent pass rush on the outside. At least just make him uncomfortable with the three-man rush. They're doing that. They're not going to hit him, but make him uncomfortable. You're doing that because he's drifted. And so when he throws off his back foot, he misses him, throws it to his back shoulder, and like, if you were to look at this right here, you'd think this is a pick. And if he picks it, there's one guy to beat, and it's to the house the other way. But he doesn't catch it. It gets in on his face mask, tips it up, and the kid concentrates and catches it on the goal line. Better look at it right here. Yeah. So this is one where, quarterback kind of drifts out of his pocket, makes it hard on himself. If he just stays in here, he's fine. But at least you affect him a little bit. Throws off his back foot, sidearms it, it sails on him. It's behind the receiver. And, again, if Hunter Washington picks that, he's got one man to beat. But instead tips it up and to them, and they have a touchdown, tie ball game. So then you come back after they tie it up and put a little drive together yourself. We'll take the lead right here. 2x2, right hash, soft zone, good protection. Throw it in the middle to a fast guy. Got a big play. It's pretty simple. They give you a two safety look, right? Like it kind of looks like two, but if you were behind there with Blake looking where he's looking, ball's on the right hash. And so really you only have one safety on a hash. It'd be really easy for him to rotate to the middle field, and it'd be something other than two, right? And I think he kind of knows that with these underneath defenders all shielded to the field, shaded to the field, to the wide side. So that probably, again, back to what we were looking at earlier, probably tells him, okay, this side I got 3/2. Over here in the boundary, I've got 2/2. Shorter throw, better odds. So I'm reading that to the boundary side with this throw. That's what I'm going to read the whole way. So then it's, what is the route? He peeks the other side after the play fake, because he's going to eyeball it and the whole way. And then in break behind the linebacker, he's wide open. Deliver it to him. Good pocket. And, if he reads to the outside, the safety's there, he's going to throw that comeback for a big completion too. They're both open. Protection, pretty decent too, except, they've got a walk down on the right tackle side who just goes wide and comes around the edge. Didn't get there. It's a really good thing that your back is there to help, and this is an excellent job by Booth. Playing running backs, not just carrying a ball, you're going to help on protection. Fake and watch him. Boom. Go ahead and throw your shoulder in there. If you don't have help, you're beat on the edge. Quarterback's got to step up and get it out before he gets hit. But 6-man protect versus 4-man rush ought to get you this just about every time, and that is clean pocket, stand in there and be comfortable. And unfortunately, this would have then ended up on this drive with Kamario Taylor's first touchdown carry of his career, but it didn't because of a holding. You'll motion across. It's lead to the outside, like quarterback sweep, but you got to hold from the tight end. It's double tights in the ball game. This is ball here on the edge. Traore in motion across, and so you're going to have two bigger guys out here blocking on the edge with the back leading, and everybody does a pretty nice job. It's just ball is standing up. he's a 6'7" guy right here. And so this is kind of catching him on the edge with your arms around. So it's just bad technique right there. It was a good job by the back. If you look at Fluff Bothwell, watch him come around the edge. He does a nice job. Traore does a nice job. He kind of cleared the way there. Coulda, shoulda, woulda been a touchdown. Took it off another holding, another penalty, takes another score off the board in this first half, which was just the story of the first half for State offensively. There it is on the left side. Again, he's in the right position, blocking the right guy. This is just a technique deal. So right there, you're kind of catching him. Arms got to be inside. Can't be that high with your arms. Got to get them inside. If you wrap them around the shoulder, especially on the edge, everybody can see that. Then if you grab those shoulder pads, we can really see it. And so, that's the right call. Unfortunately, takes a touchdown off the board. All right, and here's an example of Whitson. Third quarter here, up 13-10. State gets it going in third quarter. Whitson doing his job and gets credit for TFL. And he's got a teammate in Tillman who really is kind of helping to make this happen here. They're reading Whitson. Nowhere to go on the other side because of Tillman, and so it cuts right back into it. Here's what I mean by that. Good aggressive call, too. It's at the right time. They go, tight receivers on the boundary side, ball on the left hash. So they go tight receivers here to the formation into the boundary, and they're going to use those guys to block back down, pulling the both guards, right guard and left guard, are pulling around left side. They're trying to go to the edge. And when you see that action, that pull action, and they're going to leave him unblocked, and this is a read for the quarterback. So he's reading Whitson. Watch what Whitson does. There, eye to eye, he kind of stays, and so that tells quarterback, I better just give this thing because he's got me one-on-one right here on the edge. And should work, right? All those blockers, 2 receivers on the edge, 2 linemen pulling, leading for a back. There's 2 defenders, though, here on the back side. That's 7 Tillman, Jones the corner. And I think the defensive call is we're bringing 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So Tillman, not only does he see it, but I think that's his call. And look at him, aggressive. He's in the backfield at the point of attack, taking on 3 blockers. They're all 3 trying to block him. He's just a little more aggressive than they are. You bottle it up, and so Whitson falls in from the backside and gets a TFL. Good team defense. Look at all the white shirts. All right, check this one out. Ball on the left hash. State with bunch receivers all the way out there on the sideline. Split them as wide as you can get into the boundary. Coverage look for Southern Miss is going to be quarter, half, which is quarter deep, half field deep, and this corner's up. And it works to their advantage. They've called this little quick screen to Evans with 2 blockers in front. Catch it and hurdle. Jump over a human being. Heck of a play. Said it worked for him because you got Traore is going to be your lead blocker going out on the corner, so he does not have to go far to get there. Then your other tight end up front now, he's going to look up that first linebacker that shows to the inside, and now you get it blocked. 2-2, now he's free to the safety and just jump him. Good job on the catch. I was bragging on Blake a little bit ago. He would probably tell you this is a little low, but nice job catching it with your hands here and get going. And get up. All right, this is a really big play, late throw out to the sideline that turns into a big, run after the catch. So he's got 7-man protect, release the tight end, 3 on the route, and come underneath the corner, beat him, catch it, run. And a chance to score should be a touchdown. Just get a late holding, takes another touchdown off the board. I think just in these highlights now, that's the third or fourth, but I know it's probably the third that we've got a touchdown that's coming back because of a penalty. So I mentioned 7-man protect, releasing Traore vertical, and then route and route. So those are your 3 that are out in the route. 7-man protect would be the 5 offensive linemen, tight end checking inside, and back checking outside after the fake. So those are your 7. And we've seen this a bunch in the game with soft corners and a lot of throws have gone elsewhere, up the middle of the field and stuff. But that has kind of consistently been there, is they give you those soft corners, and if you wanted to take it, you could take it. And here he is taking it late, and this is a great job to, attack the football at the end, kind of sense, where the defender is and go catch it and run away from him. Not a great job by the Southern Miss corner. And then you're not going to catch this guy in a foot race. So all you have to do here, if you're Evans, is just get in the way and don't grab. If you just get in the way so that he can use you, your teammate's going to decide what's best. I'll beat him to the pylon here. I'll cut back and beat him inside here. Just get in the way, and instead we grab the jersey, and it brings the score off the board. And, when they showed you the other angle, so here's one. You can kind of see it there. Now, there's a little bit of acting going on, but he does grab. I mean, it's really clear. When your arms are extended and your hands are up high and you grab that shoulder pad, it's a good job acting to the corner, make sure you get the call, but you can really see it here. Grab, and that's what it is. It's unnecessary. Going to line up, run some more plays, and this is a fine job by several guys, but including left tackle Jimonthy Lewis, who I thought he played really well and showed me a lot. He got in trouble in the game for getting a late penalty, but then he made the block to score. But here he is, down, turn up, grab the running back, nearly drag him into the end zone. Good job. Don't just stand and watch. A lot going on here. And several guys doing a really nice job. So you're down, and Jimonthy's down, and then he turns. West, the tight end, does a really nice job up on the linebacker. You pull the right guard Owens over. He blocks out on the edge, and so it just kind of creates this really easy lane to the edge and to the left side for the back. See, down, across. Owens pulls. Tight end's doing a nice job. As I said, Owens there on the edge. West here. They're down here. And with a lead, I mean, if I pause this and we look right now, and this is a lead with a tight end, we're thinking touchdown. They do a good job of pursuing, kind of jumping outside to force it back in. And you can already see, look at Lewis. Like, he's made his block, but don't just stand and watch. Find him. Turn. See what you can do. Get downfield. They may need you. And in this case, grab him, nearly drag him in the end zone. You get on the goal line here. I'm bragging on Jimonthy. Thought he played well. Here he is, left tackle. But you don't score here, but they get him for a penalty for being in the backfield. Too far off the line, cheating for a few more inches, throw the flag. You may or may not have been in there on a touchdown, broken the plane, who knows, but flag comes out, illegal formation. I don't think they told us exactly who it was, but we do know it's one of those. That's who they get. They back him up, but he comes right back and makes up for it right here on the edge. Back him up 5. He's in trouble. He's still going to get in trouble when he gets to the sideline. Motion across, and by doing that, it's man-to-man, so they're going to run with him. Clears one defender out of there. Watch Lewis on the edge. Tight ends up. Lewis seals the edge. Walk into the end zone. All right, so come back. Up now 2010, 3rd and 7. Incredibly athletic play by Isaac Smith. He's lined up in the middle of the field. He's kind of a roaming rover type of safety right there, almost like a Tampa 2 type of look in the middle. Finds a football, makes an unbelievable play to try to tip an interception back to a teammate. Now, a couple things to look at here. There's a lot to look at here. It's a really athletic play, and I'll show you that at a different angle. But I like what State's doing. So 3rd and 7, like I say, you got them backed up. You got momentum. You're up 2 scores. 3 down, 3, nickel in the game, and it's zone everywhere. All these are zone defenders. Over here to the left, this is 3 over 2 zone underneath. He's like a robber in the middle of the field zone, except you're locking up in man right here. So State did a nice job of, throwing some confusion at the quarterback during the course of the game and mixing coverages where, like you're breaking some rules. Like, we're zone everywhere, but this one is a locked up man-to-man. Just little things like that I noticed throughout the ball game. Okay, but look at Smith. There's Isaac Smith. Whether he's, assigned spy stuff or not, I don't know. But I know he's in the middle of the field right here. Sees quarterback run, flows, find the receiver, and then goes and gets the football. And the deal is to jump it, first of all, from the middle of the field. Now, the awareness to catch it and think, I'm out of bounds, I'm going to throw this back to a teammate so that maybe we can catch it. And you don't get it here. Tillman can't get there in time. But he didn't realize, he's got this is a pick. Just hang on to it. He's actually going to get a foot down. I think he misjudged how far over he was and didn't realize. And I love Coach Bell's reaction. This is Coach Corey Bell, played corner and defensive back at South Carolina back in the early 90s. I love his reaction. But when you see a different angle here, just look at this play from Smith. He's top left of your screen, watching quarterback. It's just being a ball player. Fine receiver. Watch him go get it. Great play. And didn't realize he could come down in bounds and coulda, shoulda, woulda been a highlight interception. So you put another drive together, you come down here and score, and like goal line offense and goal line situations, some states got to be much better in, certainly than last year, but just really overall. And it's pretty good. Guard and tackle, another Jimonthy Lewis block kind of running behind him here. They do a nice job. Tight end is up on that first inside. They don't block the edge. And it's interesting because quarterback's eyes actually go the other way, but he still sort of freezes. But you're in there because of the push on the left side. Really everybody from center to left guard, left tackle, tight end up. From a yard away, you're in. It's a really good job. You can kind of see it, just a closer look at that. That's what I'm saying is, it's interesting to me, quarterback's eyes are on the other side. So this defender, I'm not sure why he's upfield right here and kind of out. It's not like they're coming at him, they're away, and you would think maybe he's just aggressively down here, but he's not. And so that allows you to up and in. Okay, and this is really an excellent play here by Brenen Lanier late in the game, late in the third quarter, interception. Turn and run with the flat, who turns it up the sideline and pick it off. There's a lot to look at in this play, and it is an excellent job by him. You can also look at this. So it's a first down. State goes with 4 defensive linemen. Okay, and what you can't see in this look is safeties and what the alignment is and all that kind of stuff. But I do know that the corner on this side is a soft corner. Whatever that cover, it does not look like lock-up man. This is a zone type of deal, and he's running back to a third responsibility when it runs off. So it puts Lanier defending the flat, and when you get a receiver in the flat, that's his responsibility. Okay, so you can see what happens here. On the snap, back pedal, he's the flat defender. Inside receiver runs vertical, so Jones runs with him, and we get a stop out here, and he runs to his responsibility out here to cover. And that's why you wind up in that position. So now he's here. And you see, good job. Eyes are in the backfield. I'm in my zone. I can sense my receiver here, and this receiver does a good job. Whether it's designed this way or what, little delay, and now he's gone. But does not get fooled. Without even really looking at him, he just kind of, if you look at Lanier, bottom of your screen, without even really looking at him, he just kind of turns in peripheral vision, realizes he's gone, and now turns and runs with him. If he gets fooled right here, this is a completion. But he doesn't. A little bit of a peek, and then turn and run with him. I mean, it's an excellent job. And the window's small because you got a teammate back here, and he's trying to fit it in there and a little bit behind. But it's an excellent job just being a football player and reacting to what's going on around you. The other thing to notice too here is in this 4-man front, Malik Silla, the transfer from Texas A&M, is closing this down right in a quarterback's face, and he may have a lot to do with it too. It's an excellent rush. You take the tackle right back to him, and any quarterback is going to feel this. And it's a really good QB, and he proved it, but he's going to feel it. And so whether or not it affected his read, wanting to wait and see what happens, just getting in the vicinity of that quarterback can sometimes cause these where, if even as tight a window as that is, if that ball is thrown here, it's a bang, bang, maybe I catch it, maybe I hang on as they hit me. But you throw it another 1.5 yards behind him, and now I can make a play on it. And that has everything to do with one individual getting some semblance of pressure on the quarterback right here, I think. And so great play all the way around.